What it is, y'all? It is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back today with more Danmachi news, guys. Now, we have a bit to talk about. Let's go ahead and jump in here, okay? Because we are getting a rerun of the Summer Carnival. Now, both banners will rerun, and I'm going to tell you the same thing I think I told you last year when this actually ran. This banner's okay, but I can honestly say I don't think I've run like any of these units aside from that Hestia. On the other hand, I adore this side of the banner, personally. I use her a lot. She's alright, but that Lena is insane. And with the buffs these teams are probably going to be getting over the next year or so, I think she's going to get even better. I really like her a lot. So if you haven't got any of these units and you have to pick, this is definitely the banner to do. And in fact, I think that's what I said last year. I just recently think I maybe even acquired her. I don't think I ever maxed. But I don't think I've used either one of these two units ever, honestly. Like, if I have, it's been a long time. A really long time. But I've been looking for an excuse to use her for a good minute. So hopefully the Earth team gets a pretty... I think she's Earth. I hope that team gets a pretty good buff so that we can use her again. Now, that is a rerun. So do note that all your odd draws are half price. Your even draws are all guaranteed 4-star. That's pretty nice. And I think they get rebalances. I don't remember what all their rebalances are. We'll talk about that in the Before You Summon video on that tomorrow. But just know that, you know, it is, I want to say this is going to be the better banner, but I'd have to go through all the rebalances. As you guys know, it's Record Buster week. We're getting Revis in, and do expect her to be, once again, buffed pretty hard against the Water team. I expect this to prefer the new Dark units, so since I don't have many of the Dark units, probably not going to do too well in this. Just throwing that little, you know, like if you guys are hurting on these, I am too. Like, if I get top 500, I'll be ecstatic. I'll walk away, head held high, and be just very, very happy with the rewards. I know a lot of you guys have asked about the rewards from the last Record Buster, since there were some issues and things like that. We're apparently going to get the rewards, I believe, next week. I think they said on the 10th or something like that. Maybe even the week after or something of that nature. But it's going to be a little bit, but we'll get the rewards for the last Record Buster. We're just not getting them yet. Okay? Sword Oratoria, we're getting a new chapter. This is actually going into next week's stuff. I don't know why I don't have the cell here to show that, but next week we're getting a new Sword Oratoria chapter. Along with that, as you would expect, a new banner. Let's talk about these units, okay? And we'll talk about them more in next week's Before You Summon video, because this is actually getting into next week's news. Don't expect to stream next week. The new Anakit is interesting. HP 3781 ain't great for a physical unit. Not end of the world, but pay attention to this number right here. This is probably the most important number, okay? HP ain't great. Physical attack is spectacular. Defense is pretty good. Dex is okay. Not mind-blowing. Agility is really nice. 1171 is spectacular. But check this out, okay? Now, it is worth noting, before I go any further, these units are not time limited. So if you do not pull them, you can always get them for 4-star tickets. Or if you're doing the full course, your monthly paid gacha. Remember that Celestial Festival gacha at the beginning of every month. You don't pull her now, you could pull her there. Just saying. Just throwing that out there too as consideration. Now, Skill 1. Strength, Magic, and Agility down 35% for all foes for 5 turns. That's a really, really, really good debuff. Self, Earth attack damage 70% for 3 turns and 3 additional actions. Foes mid-Earth physical attack. Remember that recently got a buff right before the anniversary. They're no longer low attacks, they're now mid attacks in most situations. So she's going to hit pretty good. Skill 2 is a fast, high Earth physical attack with high penetration rate. Earth resist down 40% for 3 turns. And Self, Strength, and Agility plus 60%. That number plus 60%. Yeah. After skill 2, she's going first every time. She doesn't care what's going on. She's going first every time. And we'll get to the passives because that's going to be interesting too. And I like your skill 3, actually. Your skill 3 is super useful. High earth physical attack with ultra and guard rate, plus 60% skill damage per earth resist debuff on the target. Remember, you're going to be debuffing with her and with your assist. So that's going to become a 120% hit. Now, her SA leaves a little bit to be desired, if I'm honest. Ultra Earth physical attack with ultra penetration rate plus 20% per strength, magic, and agility buff on the target. Remember, your opponent has to have the strength, magic, and agility buff to get that. You're in most situations only going to see 60% out of that. Yes, I do know it could go up to 120. Highly, 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 highly unlikely unless you're using her in War Game. That's the only time you're ever going to see the full 120 out of that. And then you'd have to have her set to do the SA. It's complicated. If she does, you're going to love life. But I got news for you. If your opponent has their agility buff on them, you're probably not getting enough turns in to use that SA. Just saying. We'll talk more about that tomorrow in the Before You Summon, or next week in the Before You Summon video. 35% thunder resist, and counters are earth physical attack. Not bad. 35% strength, agility, and dex. So remember, 35% passively goes into this number. So take that number, add 35% of it back into it. Already a fantastic number, but most units do that. She then adds another 60%. She going first every time. I do not care what your opponent says or does, but we're talking turn 3 and onwards. Once again, if you're using her in War Game, most situations you're probably not getting to turn 3. If you are, you probably have sacked her or something, or she's gotten wiped out. Odds of her getting to turn 3 in War Game, probably pretty unlikely. So, there's a lot to unpack on this unit. I think aside from War Game, she's going to be great, but I don't know. I have to digest it, but I kind of feel like that agility might be a bit wasted on her, personally. But who knows? I got a week to digest it and to figure it out. 20% damage on penetration, 15% physical and magic resistance, and she's an Aqua Killer, which we'll actually get to, because you're going to need some Aqua Killers. Lena. HP is 3721, which is about on par for a magic unit. Let me actually take that back. She's physical attack. And she's actually physical attack too. Sorry, I saw the scepter. I'm in Konosuba mode. I saw the scepter, immediately assumed she's magic. She's actually a physical attack type. So 3721 ain't that great, to be honest. Her physical attack is really good, though. 2040 is a respectable physical attack, and her defense is stellar. 660 for defense is great. Okay? Dex, a good, not anything to write home about. Agility, once again, good, not anything to write home about in this day and age. Once again, though, both these units not time limited, and she is once again an Aqua Killer, which is, you're going to find out here shortly, you're going to need. Skill 1, high earth physical attack with ultra on guard rate and temporary strength boost. Guard rate, physical resist, magic resist down 30% for 3 turns. So she'll reduce the guard rate, physical resistance, and magical resistance on your opponent, which will be very, very, very nice. I see that probably being more of a sack skill, though. Allies extend buffs by 2 turns. Once again, I see that probably being a sack skill more than anything else. Skill 2, Super Earth physical attack with ultra and guard rate and temporary great strength boost on foe singular. Skill 3 is a fast strength, magic, and earth attack damage plus 35%, plus taunt and sleep resistance plus 100% for 2 turns. Let me unpack that for a moment. That means for War Games, she's going to be massively important for your anti-ailment. That's your War Game sack right there. Set her to buff, and she will break ailment teams. She's literally designed to fight Epimetheus. Well, not Epimetheus, because he does poison and stun, doesn't he? But she's literally designed to fight ailment teams. So get one of this unit, leave her at level 1, never level her up, give her absolutely nothing. Don't even, like, honestly, don't even give her armor. What she needs to do, she needs to go in, she needs to get that, get that fast buff skill off. Because remember, buff skills and fast skills always go first. So unless your opponent is like a light rush team, I don't think they're going to be beating her. I could be wrong on that, but I don't believe that even with like level 1, they're going to beat her. Maybe like level 40, we'll have to test it, but she's once again not dropping until next week. So get one Lena and then call it. You're going to be good. I do suspect in the data mines, if not this week, maybe next week, we'll probably find out that you can actually whale for these units up to 3 times. I'm going to guess, because that's usually what these banners acquire. So not an MLB unit, definitely a SAC unit. Though I do like her skill 1. I think her skill 3 is mind-blowing for Wargame. Absolutely mind-blowing for Wargame. Especially if you've been, or even Undertale Skira. If you've been coming up against ailment teams like I have, you want one of this unit, and you don't want to upgrade her. Special for SA is silly. Alter Earth physical attack with temporary great strength boost, ally strength, magic, and earth attack damage plus 75% for 3 turns. You might use that in the upcoming Familia Rush, but I'm going to be entirely honest with you. Beyond that, you'll probably never use it. As soon as that Earth team gets somebody that boosts magic and 100%. Well, we already have magic. Yeah, we already have magic boost. I apologize. In Haruhime. As soon as you get somebody that boosts the earth attack damage 100%, she's going to go by the wayside. And we'll probably get that pretty quickly. I think wind, water, dark, and light, I think, are the only ones. Oh, no, I'm sorry, not light. Fire. Fire has it twice over. Are the only ones that have that. I don't believe Earth has it yet. I'd have to double check that. I could be wrong in that regard. But she's going to be pointless after that. Ignore the man who just dropped his mouse. Passive. I'd edit that out, but I gotta get this video out quickly. 35% thunder resist, and counters our earth physical attack. 35% strength, agility, and dex. Once again, kind of part of the course for units these days. 20% damage on critical, 20% ailment resistance, and Aqua Killer ability plus 50%. Now, this is an interesting little add-on here. Remember, when she goes into Wargame, the first thing that your opponent's going to try to do is hit her with ailments. So you need to have ailment resistance out in front. Because the one way that you're going to be able to respond to this is taunt, but I don't think your taunts are going to get out before her skill can, is basically to cause her to sleep or stun on the assist side. This will help out with that drastically, but you will have to run anti-ailment. Basically, your opponents and your stall teams are now going to be forced to like run as many stall assists as they can to try to get to negate her. I'm not going to say she's going to be perfect, but I am going to say this is going to help out massively. She's an Aqua Killer, but I'm totally honest here. I don't see you using her, even on Rush. Even though I know these units are going to be like really like built for that purpose. Like, Rush is going to be designed entirely for this. And the reason I talk about Familia Rush is because... Oops. Uh-oh. Well, this might be rip the old mouse. There we go. Don't drop your mouse, folks. It's not good for its lifespan. Okay? We're getting at... And I'll talk about this here real quick, and then we'll get to back to Rush in a moment. Heroic Trial. Okay? We're getting Heroic Trial for these 2 units. I don't even think I have... No, that's the Armed Eyes. I take it back. I do have her. I rarely, if ever, use her. She's more of a sack. Probably that Ina would be a better unit to acquire there. We are getting, of course, Wargame, normal Wargame next week. There's no notes as to whether this is going to be ranked Wargame for FWG, but since we just had an FWG, probably expect another Wargame or 2 before that's a thing. And, of course, 7th Zone. Everybody knows this. I have a video coming out on this. I actually intended for it to come out over the weekend. It didn't happen. We'll probably try to drop it. We'll have to see what the schedule is. I gotta find some time to drop it, though. So that is the schedule up through next Wednesday. Next Thursday, as I said, Family Rush. And effective elements are Dark and Earth, and you'll need Aqua Killers. Now, here's the whole deal. I did say that Rush was coming. I've been working up to this. Yes, you 100% will want to have some pretty good teams for this. I suspect they're going to put an insane buff, like maybe like 80, 90 to 100% resistance on this unit so that water teams don't come in and just sweep it again. Probably. I mean, Right Flyer's not a fool. They know how crazy good that team is. They will do something to make sure you summon on the new units rather than just using the old teams because that's what they want. Not saying the new team won't be, or the water team won't be viable, but I don't think it's going to be a top-hitting team. So, you want to ponder this. But that said, you don't want to go crazy, go Iris broke, trying to chase a unit that you're never going to use again, or max out a unit that you literally then will never, ever be able to use the way you intended. Because if you max out Lena, when it comes to Wargame, when it comes to that ailment resistance, you'll never be able to use her. So while you are going to kind of negate some of your Family Rush score, maybe we'll have to see what happens when it drops, to be honest, because there might be plenty of Earth units you can actually use in her place, because she doesn't seem like she's going to be a very good hitter. She's a support through and through. If you get her up to like level 80, until they drop that new item, which is dropping probably, I think, spring, you will not be able to use Lena on your Wargame team for what I have spoken about, which means you're going to be sitting there susceptible to every ailment team that comes out. So ponder that before you do anything crazy. But that's that, guys. This week, Sparking Summoner Carnival rerun, Sparking Summoner Carnival Gotcha rerun, 7th Zone, and Record Buster appropriately. Next week, we have the new gotchas. We'll talk about those. We'll do a Before You Summon video next week on those. The new Heroic Trial, 7th Zone, Ultimate Wargame, and it actually does say it's a pre-round. It does say it's a pre-round there, so I take that back. You will want to make sure you get a really good score. So we have another FWG coming in probably towards the end of the month. Family Rush coming in that following Thursday. Now, remember, some of these dates might be a little wonky comparison to what you see. These are all JP time, so, you know, like, I think for most of us, Thursday is actually the 14th. But neither here nor there, guys. That is going to be the video. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section down below. Like, comment, share, and all that good stuff. I will catch you all on the next one.